Hello, and this is Brandon coming at you live with the power of the internet. Today we're going to be going over Kanjis 61 to 90. If you couldn't tell already, I am a Bogey fan. Just a shout out there at the beginning of the video. We're going to be starting with the kanji for study or learning today. The way I like to memorize this one, or the story that I use for this one, is it just kind of looks like character, but with more points on top. So I kind of take that like, I remember it the same way that I remember the one for character, but I kind of think like more, like what am I doing with the characters I'm studying or learning them. It's like an intensity of that, intensity of characters in a strange way. Its components are pretty much the same as characters, except it has the 3 dots on top. Its kunyomi is going to be manabu, and its onyomi is going to be, I believe that's gaku. It is. Some words would be like gakusei, which is student, if you've ever heard of that. And that's that one. The next one we're going to look at is exam or school. We haven't seen this yet, but I do believe we'll see it in this video. The symbol on the right here is the symbol for mingling. So if you see the symbol in the beginning, it's the symbol for tree. So it combines both the symbol for tree and the symbol for mingling. And in Japan, the way it works is they post your grades on a tree at the end of your exam, and you go and everybody gathers together. So if you think about mingling around the tree to view your posted exam marks, that's how you'll remember this one. This one actually does not have any kunyomi, but its onyomi is ko. Should have been able to read that. The next one we're going to look at is the one for village or town, and it has 2 parts here. It has the part for tree and the part for measurement. So it's kind of like an enclosure or a tree built around measurements or something like that. That's how you can kind of think of it. The sounds for it are going to be musa, mura, my bad. I always mix sa and ra. I gotta get on that. And its onyomi is going to be son. Some other words that use it are down here, and that's that one. The next one we're gonna look at is another one for village, but this is more like a block on a village rather than or a town. And this one is basically enclosure and rice paddy. So if you think of the enclosure on a rice paddy, you think of town. Machi is the kunyomi, and the onyomi, because I'm bad, I believe this is cho. Oh yeah, because that symbol combined with that symbol. Kind of always messes me up. So cho and machi. The next one is forest or woods. This is almost basically identical to grove, but there's more trees. So just think of a bunch of trees. Basically makes a forest. Mori is the kunyomi. And the onyomi is, I believe this is shin. Yeah, shin. Some words that use it. Mori just means forest. And what's this? Try to read this one. Moriauga moriogaeru. What is it? That is what it is. That one's kind of hard to say. And I guess that's a forest green tree frog. The next one's going to be correct and justice. The way I like to look at this one is it basically looks like above and below slammed together. So I kind of think of what meets in the middle of above and below. It's like correct or just. It's like the approaching. That's how I like to look at this one. Tadashi is the kunyomi for it, and the onyomi is sei. Sei. Then we're going to look at water. This is going to be mizu is water, or sui in Chinese. It just kind of looks like flowing water on a river. It looks like the river is like crammed together and the water is flowing through it. It's also very similar to the next one we're going to look at, which is fire, which is hu or ka, or he, sorry, my bad. He, because it looks like a nose, if you went over the mnemonics for that. He is going to be fire. It's also radical. This kind of looks like a campfire, to be honest, with the little thing shooting out of it. So I like to remember that one. Then we're going to move on to jewel. This is the symbol for king, which we're going to see at the end of the video, and it's got a little dot in it. So I think of it as like, it also looks kind of like there's a dot at the bottom of big for plum, which is what we're going to see, like kind of chubby. So it's just, I look at it like the jewel of the king. That's kind of how I look at that one and remember it. Gyoku, and Tama are going to be the kunyomi and onyomi respectively for that one. And then this is king, which comes right after. So one mnemonic for this one is that it kind of looks like ground and then one sky on top of it. So it's the guy who rules the in-between of ground and sky is a king. Think of it like that. This one does not have a kunyomi. And the onyomi is, the next one we're going to move on to is stone. Stone kind of looks like right for me, except a little bit lower. That's how I remember it. It doesn't really make sense. It's not an in-depth story or anything like that. I just kind of used that one. Its kunyomi is going to be ishi, and its onyomi is going to be seki. Its components are mouth, and that's it. This one here is bamboo. So some people think of it as like the teeth of a panda eating the bamboo. I just think it looks straight up like bamboo shoots, basically a pictograph. The kunyomi for this one is going to be take, and the onyomi is going to be teku. Then we're going to look at thread. For this one, it just looks like a bunch of thread and a needle coming down. There's another guy who said it kind of looks like Spider-Man symbol or something like that, but that doesn't really help me. Maybe you can think of how ridiculous it sounds when I say that, but that will remind you of this one. It also has tiny and short thread radical in it, so it does look like thread and then tiny, so that's that one. The kunyomi for this one is going to be ito, and the onyomi, I always get this one confused with the other one that has two, because they look basically identical. Give me 1 second here. Shi. That one's shi. The other one, I can't remember what the other one is, but then we're going to move on to shellfish. This one is basically eye and then two little legs, or two little dashes here. Its pronunciation for the onyomi is going to be bai, and it's going to be kite for the kunyomi. The mnemonic for this one, it basically shellfish just kind of look like with an eye with legs, or maybe that's the shell and they look like an eye on the inside if like a clam opens up. This is going to represent car, which is kuruma. That's going to be what that is. Kuruma means vehicle, and then I guess this is shia or sha, just sha. Forgot about that. And the mnemonic for this one is basically looks like something zooming by a rice paddy. That's how some people have described it. Next one we're going to look at is gold. This kind of looks like the house of the king. Its components are king, roof, and then legs. The house of the king, and then maybe like jewels. So it's kind of like a jewel or like the treasury. So think like gold. Like gold will be in the treasury. The treasure of the king is gold. It's going to be kare for the kunyomi, and kin for the onyomi. Next, we're going to look at rain. This, honestly, to me, just looks like rain coming down. There's kind of like an enclosure, and it's like drops coming down. The kunyomi for this one is going to be ame, and the onyomi is going to be u. This one's red, So some people think of the mnemonic for this one as kind of like a guy getting stabbed and blood flying out of the bottom of him. That's a little excessively violent, but that might help you remember it. Aka is going to be the word for this, so aka means red. And seki is the onyomi for it, but the word red is aka. This is blue-green. So if you think of it, it's basically just king on top of moon, or ground on top of moon. This isn't quite king, but I like to think of it like king. And if you think like what is the royal moon? It's the blue moon. So the reason it's blue and green is because for the longest time there wasn't really a distinction between the two. So there's a lot of cultures that actually don't have a distinction between the two. There's some interesting videos on YouTube. I think Gaijin Guba has a video up about that potentially. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe it was somebody else. But yeah, there's a few videos on that. It's pretty interesting history. They've actually gotten a new word that I believe is for specifically green, but they, or blue. It distinguishes it, but this is more commonly used. The ao is the kunyomi, and ao means blue or green, and sei is the onyomi. This is white. The mnemonic for this one is that the color of the sun, basically, when it's shining in your eyeballs, is like a bright white light. Like the sun casts white light down onto everybody because it kind of has the sun component there. The kunyomi for this one is going to be shiro, and that means white. And the onyomi is going to be, I believe this is haku. Yes, it is haku. So shiro is white innocence. So we're going to move on to the last 10 kanji here. The first one we're going to look at is number, or strength, fate, law, figures. Kazu is going to be the kunyomi, and su is going to be the onyomi. The mnemonic for this one that I like to think of, so its components are here. So it's got rice is one of the components. You don't need to remember this right now. We're going to look over this again. It's got rice and women. So if I just kind of think of it like a little story where women are counting the rice that they got after their harvest yield. So that's what I would like to think of it. Next one we're going to look at is many, frequent, or much. It's got the radicals for evening in it, so it's got two evenings. And I'm just basically counting. So 2 evenings is a lot of evenings. Just think of it like that. It's kind of a weird way to think of it. But next one is few, and it's got the components for slide and tiny or little. So I just kind of look at it like a change of the meaning. Tiny just means few. 10,000. This one here I don't actually have a mnemonic for it. It's got a lot of components. It's got slide, horizontal bar, vertical bar. This one I just kind of remembered it. It's one of those ones that I don't really have a mnemonic for. It's going to be man, I believe, is the word for 10,000. And the kunyomi is going to be yorozu. And the onyomi is going to be man. Yeah, so man. Yeah, that makes sense. Man. 10,000. Next one we're going to look at is half. And if you look at it, it looks like 3 boards being chopped in half by this vertical line. And the one on the top is actually already snapped in 2. It's got the radical for 10 in it. But that's how I'm going to remember it. That's the story or the mnemonic that I'm going to use. The kunyomi is going to be nakabu. Let's verify that. Sorry, guys. Nakaba. My bad. Nakaba and han. Han means half. Nakaba means middle. Next one we're going to look at is shape. The mnemonic for this one is that this is like a person or something, and it's like the 3 strikes are like outlining the shape of the object. Bristle or beard is the radical. So like bristles outlining the shape of something. The kunyomi for it is going to be kata, and the onyomi is going to be, actually don't know the first symbol there. Let's look up that K. Oh yeah, because it looks like a K. There we go, K. So kata is going to mean shape, and K is going to mean form. Next one's the kanji for plump, big, around. So I just kind of look at this. It's got the radical for big, and it's got also a little slash in it. I just look at it as an alteration on the word big. So what is something that's plump? It's not something that's big. So I look at it there. The kunyomi for it is going to be futoi. And the onyomi for it is going to be... I know the second part is E, but... Tai. Yeah, that's what it is. That's ta. So, tai. Then we're going to look at dainty. So this is the part for thread or silk and rice, a rice patty or a rice enclosure. If we take that, I kind of think of it like a thin... Actually, that just honestly looks like a sheet of paper or something, but it just kind of looks... Thread is thin, and it's a thin rice patty or a thin piece of paper. The kunyomi for it is going to be, I believe this is hosoi. Yeah, hosoi. I was right on that one. And then we've got Kate. Is that K or... Oh, my bad. Let me copy that properly. I'll make sure I got the right one. Sai. Yeah, that's Sai. Sa. My bad. Nah, I gotta brush up on that katakana. I gotta practice that katakana. Sight for that one. Moving on to this one. This is wide, sorry. Wide, broad, or spacious. It's got the enclosure, and then this kind of looks like elbow room. So if you think of it, a wide or broad, spacious enclosure has a lot of room for this symbol inside here, this elbow. And one guy's mnemonic was, it's a bat cave, and Batman has a lot of room for his yoga. Hiroi is going to be the kunyomi for it, and hiroi means spacious. And it's also got, yeah. Next one is our last one for today, and this is going to be long, leader, superior, or senior. Now, I am lucky because this is my girlfriend's last name, so I can remember this one fairly easily by remembering that it is her last name. But for everyone else here, I've heard people say that it kind of looks like a geisha woman tying up her long hair, so she needs a lot of pins to keep the hair. These would be the pins keeping the hair up. So I guess that's one way you could remember it. It's going to have the kunyomi of nagai, and it's going to have the onyomi of tyo. Is it tyo? Cho. I forgot. T always goes ch when it's mixed with the Y. God damn, I gotta think of the katakana. And that's gonna be it for today. Those are the next 30 kanji, 61 to 90, and this is Brandon signing off. Enjoy. See you tomorrow.